Dear my brothers and sisters, long greeting internet, my friends everywhere, on social media, in real life. I just want to make this thing about this our educational higher education institution establishment and uh, what's going on. And obviously the leaders, you don't see them on social media writing their vision, articulating their ideas, what's going on, how things are done, what's supposed to be now and what's supposed to be in the future, what happened in the past. Like maybe they just write maybe once on and off, but you don't see them daily posting on social media. Like all these diplomats, like all these African countries, Nigeria, Ethiopia, you got all these people like this Rwandan president. Always is on social media because he communicates with his audience, with his followers, with his public, So basically, you know what's going to do, you know what's happening, and our politicians, our leaders, really, well, I'm not trying to underestimate them, but obviously they are really crap when it comes to communication. They don't write it. They don't communicate with their people. They this inherent kind of like, probably you can say it's arrogance or maybe illiteracy. No, I wouldn't call it illiteracy. That's not the right word. That kind of arrogance, like all the population, the populace have to follow our order. That kind of like this communist Russian kind of arrogance. They see us like this really stupid illiterate peasants. Like we just take orders as it is at face value, without no questioning whatsoever. Just we say, hey, Mr. Our leader, kind of thing. That's the attitude. So now I just want to highlight and try to put into attention Mr. I think is he a doctor, professor, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's just say Mr. As our culture, Mr. Tadesse Mahari. I think he was the guy, the boss of the higher education institution in Eritrea, all these colleges, universities, everything. But obviously, the last decision maker, I think, is Mr. Musa Naib, because he was a fighter. But I think in terms of academic, I think because you can see from the interview that he was making, the guy, the first person who is the engine that makes the whole establishment, educational sector, as a minister, I think it's Mr. Tadesse Mahari. I think he left the country probably around maybe 5-6 years, and now he's somewhere in the West. I'm not sure whether in America or in the West, in Europe. So he wrote a book. I think how many volumes of, I think 2+ books, or maybe one book, because I heard him saying in Elias Amare YouTube clip. So his book, literally, his main thrust of all his theme, whole ideas, when he tried to summarize, is about these people, about disabilities, autism, all this Down syndrome, all this Parkinson disease, all these people who are afflicted from the diaspora. But well, we want to have some of them in Eritrea, but it's not to the extent of this Western thing. So I think my guess, my gut feeling, my understanding, I think obviously I think I'm right too, is I think he got funded from these Western pharmaceutical institutions to write all these horrible things about autism, Down syndrome, Parkinson disease, all that kind of really crap that we got in the West from the environmental pollution, from the food that we eat, unnatural food, inorganic food, not organic food, from the pollution, the environment, all these petrol fumes and the smoke and everything, fertilizers, everything, you name it, really, they just grow all these chicken, poultries in a closed environment, and in 1 week you got a fat big chicken, my friend. They put a lot of chemicals whatsoever. They put it we don't even know what we eat. So these are the disasters that we have. All these people, all these autism people, their eyes popping out and nearly falling off on the ground, and So this Mr. Dr. Mahari, Dr. Tadesse Mahari, wrote, I don't know how many chapters it is, but I think it's probably 25% of his, I'm not sure, maybe one chapter. He just wrote about this thing, all this electronics. So he is education, higher education commission, main number one. The guy who was responsible for all this articulating, trying to put all the educational policy in Eritrea. And this gentleman writing a book about this all deficiencies that we have as a society, as a Eritrean community, all this disaster, about all this disease, everything. He doesn't just give you hey, Eritrea is a really super rich country, my goodness. And he was supposed to tell us Eritrea is a paradise on earth, my friend. Okay, there, you guys, as my kids, as my students, that I do care so much, you are supposed to investigate the country, what we have in our countryside, the villages, my friend, the farms, the mountains. You can have all this balloon, it was hot air balloon with the gas, and travel the country, the whole country. You do a lot of businesses. You set up and erect all these what shall we call it? All these microwave dishes, and you have all this internet connection, super globally, the whole world. And you do set up your own business, you sell your ideas, your services about your country, all these tourism people, your hotels, your restaurants, your cafes, your educational establishment, you become teachers, you teach from your country all over the world to the people, the whole people, 7 billion people. That's what he was supposed to say. Okay, he is, my friend, that's the responsibility he was given on his shoulder to guide us. Okay, he is higher education commissioner. It's a big authority, my friend. It's not a job. So he gets this really little petty job. Maybe I think he was referring about Canadian kind of like these academic journals that he was reading about all these things. So you get all that petty job in Canada, or maybe let's say in the UK, or in America, or any other European countries, and it's all this, my goodness, this autism, this Down syndrome, all this Parkinson, this horrible thing, that's what affecting our society, diaspora society, Eritreans. This is what's crippling us. So I wrote this really marvelous book for you guys to enjoy my book, and I'm gonna get rich. I don't know how much he's getting, maybe let's say $100,000 of all sales of his book. And he's telling us it's really magic, Can you believe it? We from around Dwarwa, I don't know where it's from, maybe from Dwarwa or from the Farah or Adkhal, I don't know where it's from. Our customary laws has got that really magic trick law about health, If there are some people who are sick, you isolated them, my friend. This is how much genius we are in our healthcare policy. We isolate them as part of our customary law. What was the Dwarwa area, or maybe Adkhal, the customary law clauses that they have in their law. Let's just call it constitution to make it really sexy. So this policy, my friends, if someone is sick, so that he doesn't infect other people, the villagers, the peasants, the farmers, we isolate them, we lock them, we ostracize them. That's our genius healthcare policy, my friends. So that's why he's trying to show us that how magic that customary laws, these are laws that we inherited from this Ottoman area, Byzantine area, from Syria, for all these Phoenician countries, Egypt, Turkey, it's not you just brag so much so that you have that big image about yourself, you tell all the people, these are all the Joyan people, all these people from Hatay area, they don't have a law, but we have magic law. It's called, what's called? Al-Kamam Milga. These are Al-Kamam Milga, my friend. I cannot tell you how really magical, super genius laws we have. One single person, maybe autistic, maybe Down syndrome, and maybe some kind of infection disease, we ostracize them, my friend. Maybe if he does some kind of oral thing, because he's going to infect all our society, we isolate them. That's really genius health policy our ancestors did. This is to the extent how genius, clever they are. That's our customary law. Can you believe it's really childish? This I don't think he knows all the customary law, the principle that we have all this fathanegas or all this, fathanegas, whatever that one, kabrenegas, all that kind of stuff. So this is this really amazing book that Ato Tsadwa, I think it's from Saganete area, but he believes he's an Ethiopian, a really die hard believer in his Ethiopianism. He was the head of the Catholic church in Ethiopia. Okay, so that the book, I think he studied in Italy. It's really amazing book. I read it from other people. I think Dr. Abaisa has given some kind of reference about it, all the clauses and the fact that we did inherit that from other Byzantine country. But obviously, we know it doesn't mean like we are stupid people, but our cultures are kind of like interrelated. All this Middle East, European, Byzantine, Turkey, Egypt, South in America, in Africa, everywhere, my friend. We know that isolated people, we just brought so much. Our customary laws, أدقى ملقى بقى حقنا معلمكم ويلك نقولكم يخلني عدا بقى أوتيزم تليو ولا همزي مصدق أنا سياسيلو فخوسكو سيلو بقى سيلو كم زمن نتسلمتي تعرض جورو بقى رول سكست جورو أنت غيره ننتصروا بقى حقنا إحنا نقولكم ما يكلين كم ويلنا معلم So this is really dishonest, and you can see I don't think he just got that probably petty job somewhere, some research assistant, maybe some research university lecturer somewhere in Canada or in Europe or in America, and writing that book. I think it looks as if it's a sponsorship for big pharmaceutical companies. They try to sell all their medications, their tablets, to sell to all these Africans, victim refugees, living in all Western Hemisphere. That's the book, because I've been working for the NHS for so many years, and obviously maybe over nearly 18 years, and the fact that you see all this world politics when it comes to pharmaceutical companies, and we go Dr. Ida as well, which I will come some other time. So these people, they try to make their career so big, so they use us, Actually, if I was a policymaker, to be honest, this thing, if you see the Europeans, Americans everywhere, if there are some wars in Afghanistan or in Iraq or whatever it is, in Syria, whatever it is, they don't show that TV screen news to their kids, my friend. They try to block them away. It's really horrible. It's trauma. It's a trauma. So this gentleman, being as a whole policymaker of our educational higher institution, writing this book, number one, it's not his profession, okay? Well, you can say he was education minister or whatever it is, education higher commissioner, and he can write whatever he wants. Well, he's got the right. But number one, it's not his domain. I don't think he's got that very good understanding about the health care. It's politics, It's all about medication, my friend. West, they control the whole world using their medication, okay? So they can block you from giving no medication at all for pills, you just die. It's a big intellectual property. Very super, it's multi-billions, my friend. All these GlaxoSmithKline, all these Bayer's German company, all of them, all these companies, they are super rich, my friend. They control the whole pharmaceutical companies everywhere, okay? So they just can pull anyone from the educational higher ministry from Eritrea. They use them to market their tablets. So he tells you all this about autism, all the really horrible stuff for this little petty, maybe for pharmaceutical companies. So he markets for them. Literally, he's the honest man. He is selling his own people. That's how I see it, my friend. It's a really serious thing, because I've been involved in the healthcare for 18 years, professionally. And when you see, because in the NHS is a public hospital, okay? We as the taxpayers, we contribute money, because some of amounts of our monies that we pay as a tax is for defense, for healthcare, okay? For people in Africa who are vulnerable from diseases, catastrophes, war, and everything. The healthcare is the biggest chunk. That's our money. So we pay as a tax, and it comes back as a service from the doctors, from the nurses, everything, or the whole establishment, the whole NHS employee, maybe 1.2, maybe 1.5 million employees. So this health, okay, my friend, you being as education minister, or minister, I don't know, higher commissioner, and you sell this really petty book to market all about this kind of horrible thing about autism, all like of really pharmaceutical companies victims, to you people. So what you give the message to you people is you just block all the good possibilities in life. Okay, Eritrea is really a super rich country, my friend. We are endowed, I don't know how to pronounce the word, with natural gifts, the sea, the farms, the villages, the mountains, everything, the environmental, clean environment, everything, my friend, okay? So what you do is you never show such a weakness, this is catastrophic. People who are victims of all these pharmaceutical companies in the West, they are prisoners. Literally, you can say they are prisoners of war, okay? Because they make their kids sick. So these parents really, they could have been really brilliant. Eritreans, very responsible people. They always want to go to their country, build their countries, maybe set up business from UK and from Eritrea, and trying to link up the whole globe. But the Western are very clever. What they do is they just make them sick their kids. Well, that's my understanding anyway. But don't let me against it. So these pharmaceutical companies is really big, really nasty, irresponsible, big, super global, big conglomerate industry. It's really a horrible thing. So you being as a higher education minister, it wasn't Musa Naib, he did this, obviously, I don't think he's got that kind of, because I don't think he's got, well, it doesn't mean like he cannot write, but obviously this man has been in connection with the whole global educational kind of all these journal people, lectures, everything from Japan, China, Europe, everywhere. He's got good connections. So he is abusing that link, my friend, okay? So he is using us as young people. So the same analogy that I gave you, the Europeans, they don't show them all these horrible things about wars, catastrophes for their kids, for their school kids. They try to block them away so that they don't see only about the negative side of it, all this catastrophic, it's like Armageddon, dead end, the whole, as if the world is just crashing on you, there is no possibility for you. So, in other words, they are preparing us, psychologically, preparing us, that's gonna happen to you too. All of you are gonna be autistic. All of you are gonna be afflicted with Parkinson's disease, okay? All of you are gonna have Down syndrome. This is what's happening, These people, they are part of you. So obviously what they're trying to do is, they're trying to make us emotionally connected to that, so that we always see on the negative side of it, the darker side, all this, world end of life, no possibility, logged by these pharmaceutical companies, all these gimmick people just playing for, they are marketing their own medications, to sell, So this gentleman, that's how I see him, my friend. It's a serious thing. It's not he just brag hey, PFDJ party, this, he's our leader. No, actually, it's really damaging. It's damaging to our image as we young people, really ambitious, very clever people, well connected, highly exposed to the whole international politics, health, business, everything. That's damaging us. It's killing our spirits, killing our self-confidence, our self-esteem, portraying the higher education institute commissioner, writing that book and advertising on NSMR to the whole Eritreans, all these young kids, what they're gonna be programmed and it's psychologically, conditioning. They are being conditioned. It could happen to you too. Well, if it was me as him, hired a really high institution commissioner, policy maker, what I would do is I would block that book. I will never show to my kids, my friend, okay? Why I show my kids is all the successful people, they just run the whole world, my friend, with big corporations, super ambitious people, highly educated, highly articulated people, trying to communicate what they have, their natural resources, their intellect, their culture, their looks, everything, That's what I teach my kids, my friend. I don't show them all these wars, all these catastrophic, all these diseases, my friend. I block their eyes so that they never see that, okay? So what you do is he always feed them with the positive thing about themselves, the possibilities, the potentials, the riches, the life qualities that we have in our country, our sea, our beauty, our culture, positivism, my friend, all our religious values, our ethics, our farms, our villages. Have you ever seen the villages? I don't think a lot of these town people, big city boys, I don't think they are much interested in our village, but they are the most important, very clean things, my friend. It's riches, it's potential, it's a business, my friend. These are what kind of things I would show to my kids, to the whole, my students, my friend. If I was higher education minister, like him, commissioner, that's how I write my books to show them. Not just diseases or this really catastrophic, the world, as if the world is just really being destroyed by all these diseases that the pharmaceutical companies sell you to promote your book. And he become like, hey, he's a doctor. He's a doctor. He knows his culture. He knows his customary laws from at Kamamilka. That's really skunk here, my friend. It's from me. So that's how I say that. Well, actually, I was really pissed off, Elias Amare advertising me his book and giving me that audience spotlight on his YouTube. It's really nothing to try, my friend. It's not a positive thing. You don't inspire your own people. You don't show them the innovative ways. We are part and parcel of the whole globe in terms of trade, economy, politics, presenting ourselves, our head high up, working with pride and self-confidence, my friend. You wouldn't show that really crap disease, all that kind of stuff. It's not us. We're really healthy, my friend. Okay? Never do that again. So that's how I see about the book. I was actually really angry, showing that you always condition your own people to get ready, prepared for the next catastrophe. Maybe they just can't come, maybe somewhere in the environment, they throw this little gas, maybe some sulfur, or maybe anthrax, what was the word, gas, or at least like this Chernobyl, or at least that pollutes your environment, and you get afflicted by radioactive. So this is conditioning for you for the eventualities of all these negative diseases and everything. That's why I don't like the book, my friend. Okay, you wouldn't promote such a thing. I've been kind of bogged down by this kind of empowerment and writing, article about good things about ourselves, things that we can sell to the whole world like everybody else. You got people like Dubai, United Arab Emirates, it's a desert country, it's dead, my friend, dead sun. When you're flying around United Arab Emirates and Arab countries like Egypt, when you are hover on top of the skies by aeroplane, what you see is a dead sand, dead done. You don't have nothing else except the sea. But they made United Arab Emirates the richest country in the Middle East, my friend. Okay, so they bring all these highly intellectual people from China, from India, Pakistan, all these people, Bangladesh, all the textiles, all the industry, everything. They bring it to that little desert, dead sun, my friend, dead sun. I know, no life. We Eritreans having a beautiful villages, my friend. Have you seen when our green area gets so large, our villages? Really amazing, my friend. Having all that really beautiful villages, my friend. Okay? All the sea, everything. You writing that really crap book, instead of trying to kind of emulate all these United Arab Emirates people, being as a Minister of Higher Education Commissioner, for me, it's a really big embarrassment, to be honest. I think they should be criticized, and I'm not going to buy that kind of book, obviously, because I'm seeing the other bright side of life, my friend, the sunshine, our country, our natural resources, our intellect, everything. We sell, not about this being victims, writing a book to sell to pharmaceutical companies, and we get this really petty job as a research assistant or maybe research professor in this really petty university in Canada or in America. So that's why I don't like it, okay? Okay, guys? So because this was something that was bothering me for a long time, and I wanted to have a say. This is self-expression, my friend. What do you expect? We live in Europe. We live in Eritrea's world. We say that in Eritrea's world. Okay, Mr. Elias Amare and all the people of you. So this is not just to give a negative impression or negative image about the gentleman, but the actions are not right. I'm a health expert. I work for the public health And for me, this is really crap, to be honest. Like, you wouldn't see people like, Adhanom Gabramariam, the Tigray WHO executive that they put them like, they wouldn't communicate such a thing to their people, to their what they want is just, they get maybe $200,000 a year. They put it in their pocket, they slash and everything. How are you, my friend? They go to this big TV screen to the villager ladies in our country, beautiful women. They tell, hey, Mr. Adhanom Gabramariam, what? He's rich man. I'm gonna marry him and I'm gonna go to Adwa. I'm gonna go to Magale. I'm gonna go to Addis Ababa. Okay, he's rich. So this is kind of like kind of culture we should kind of core and crush and just check it away and throw it, my friend. Okay, this is not kind of thing that you want people to inspire our youth. You are a teacher, you are a policymaker, you are a lecturer. You lecture properly. Okay, guys, thank you very much.